The Geneva bunker's air filtration system hums softly as Admiral Helena Chen activates the holographic display. Maps and defense scenarios shimmer in the air before the assembled military leaders from around the world. The Draxians believe conquest is inevitable, Helena says, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility. Their previous encounters have followed the same pattern. Display of force, demand for surrender, minimal resistance. We're going to break that pattern. General Santos from the South American coalition leans forward. With what? Their ships can shred our best aircraft like paper. We saw the specs. Helena nods to her chief science officer, Dr. Patel, who steps forward with a tablet. Images of the Draxian diplomatic vessel appear, rotated and sectioned. They let us scan their ship, Dr. Patel explains, enlarging specific components. Not because they respect transparency, but because they assumed we couldn't interpret what we saw. Their arrogance is our opportunity. The display shifts to biological readouts. The reptilian anatomy of the Draxians reveals itself in layers. Dense musculature, reinforced skeletal structure, and an efficient respiratory system. They're stronger, Helena acknowledges. Their reflexes are faster. Their armor is integrated with their bodies. She pauses, letting the disadvantages sink in. Then her expression shifts. But they evolved on a world with stable climate zones. Their bodies expect consistency. Colonel Nakamura from the Asian Defense Pact studies the biological data, while Earth has forced us to adapt to everything from Arctic conditions to blistering deserts. Helena finishes. Our planet made us versatile. Theirs made them specialized. The room falls silent as the implications become clear. Earth's greatest weakness, its fractured nations, diverse environments, and challenging landscapes, might become its greatest strength. We have 6 months, Helena continues, bringing up a global deployment map. We won't beat them with brute force or superior technology. We'll beat them by being human. Communications specialist Maya Desai enters, slightly breathless. Admiral, we've detected transmissions. The Draxian fleet is mobilizing earlier than threatened. Instead of panic, Helena smiles slightly. Another advantage. We've spent our history preparing for enemies who don't follow the rules. As the bunker erupts into activity, Helena pauses by the biological display, showing the Draxian anatomy. She gestures to a series of neural pathways highlighted in the alien brain structure. Notice this, she tells Dr. Patel quietly. Their neurological structure, highly efficient but rigidly organized. They process information linearly. Dr. Patel studies the scan, while human cognition is messier, more interconnected, more creative, Helena adds. They think we're primitive because we don't follow their patterns. They'll learn. Outside, the first snow of an early winter begins to fall on Geneva. 6 months has just become 3, but humanity has survived worse odds before. The countdown to war has begun, but with it, the first seeds of a strategy that will shake the foundations of a galactic empire that never anticipated the unique terror of facing Earth's ultimate warriors, humans. The EDC training facility, hastily converted from an abandoned mountain resort in Switzerland, echoes with the sounds of international soldiers pushing their bodies beyond previous limits. Colonel Rivera watches through reinforced glass as his elite squad enters the final phase of the cold environment simulation. Impressive adaptation curve, notes Dr. Kimura, analyzing biometric data scrolling across her tablet. Third run through sub-zero conditions, and their efficiency has improved 26%. Rivera nods, but his attention focuses on the Draxian holographic fighters. Their movements, initially fluid and devastating, have slowed noticeably after 40 minutes of continuous combat. The human squad, despite visible exhaustion, maintains coordinated maneuvers. Replay yesterday's endurance test, Rivera requests. A second screen activates, showing side-by-side comparisons of simulated Draxian physiology versus human performance over an 8-hour combat period. They're sprint predators, he murmurs, seeing the pattern clearly now. All power, no stamina. Intelligence Officer Maya Desai approaches with fresh data packets. We've analyzed communication patterns from the diplomatic vessel, she reports. Their decision-making hierarchy is completely linear. Every tactical choice requires approval from above. Rivera's eyes narrow with interest. While our troops are trained to act independently if command structures fail. Maya nods. They consider it a weakness. Their cultural database describes human military autonomy as chaotic and undisciplined. The training room doors slide open as the exhausted squad emerges. Despite their fatigue, they stand straight for Rivera's inspection. A Finnish commando steps forward. "Sir, we've identified a vulnerability. Their thermal regulation implants malfunction after extended exposure to temperatures below freezing. The effect compounds with physical exertion." Rivera's expression remains neutral, but satisfaction flickers in his eyes. "Well done, Lieutenant. Document everything and prepare your team for deployment to Northern Command." Later that evening, Rivera joins Admiral Chen in the strategy room, where three-dimensional terrain maps display potential invasion zones. Mountain ranges glow with subtle highlighting. The Himalayas, Alps, Rockies, and Andes, Rivera explains. Natural cold traps where we can exploit their thermal weakness. Chen studies the mountainous regions. They'll expect us to defend population centers, which is why forward teams are already establishing supply caches in high-altitude positions, Rivera confirms. When they push towards cities, our forces will withdraw in seemingly chaotic patterns, drawing them into temperature zones that tax their biology. Chen finishes. Classic misdirection. Dr. Kimura enters with updated simulation results. "We've integrated the alien tech components with exoskeletal support systems," she reports. "The prototypes are ready for field testing." Chen examines the designs. Production status. Materials for 5,000 units secured. Manufacturing begins tomorrow. Rivera taps the Alpine projection. "My teams will need them here first." The early snow reports are confirmed. Winter is arriving ahead of schedule. Chen allows herself a small smile. For once, Earth's unpredictable climate works in our favor. Outside the command center window, the first signs of an unseasonably early blizzard paint the mountains white. Nature itself seems to be aligning with humanity's desperate plan to survive. Lieutenant Amara Okafor signals her team to hold position as Draxian search parties sweep the rocky outcropping below. 6 hours since the ambush, and the aliens still haven't located their hidden position in the Himalayan crevasse. The captured command vessel sits behind them, its angular hull partially buried in snow to mask its thermal signature. Status. She whispers into her comm unit. "Decryption at 78%, responds Technical Specialist Chen, his fingers dancing across salvaged Draxian interfaces inside the vessel. Their security architecture is complex but predictable." Through her enhanced binoculars, Amara observes the alien troops. Their movements have grown increasingly erratic as the temperature drops with the setting sun. Several stumble, their normally precise movements deteriorating in the biting cold. "They're not built for this," observes Sergeant Rodriguez beside her. "Look at their respiration patterns." The Draxian's breath emerges in declining vapor clouds, their respiratory systems struggling to maintain output in the thin, frigid air. One collapses suddenly, its companions abandoning the search to drag it toward their remaining transport. "Countdown to extraction," Amara asks. 20 minutes until satellite coverage. Mountain Team Beta is maintaining distraction protocols on the eastern ridge. Inside the captured vessel, Technical Specialist Chen lets out a quiet exclamation. "Lieutenant, you need to see this." Amara slides down the icy slope and enters the command ship. Holographic displays show thousands of tactical simulations running simultaneously. "They're predicting our responses," Chen explains. "But look at the parameters." Amara studies the data streams. "They're assuming we'll defend population centers at all costs, and that our forces will surrender once casualty rates exceed 40%, Chen adds. Their entire invasion strategy depends on predictable human responses. Sergeant Rodriguez joins them. The search parties are retreating to lower elevation. Extraction window in 12 minutes. Amara accesses the central command node. Download everything. And plant the surprise package. Chen inserts a quantum storage drive. EDC is going to love this. Complete battle plans, communication protocols, chain of command. What about the sub-commander? Rodriguez asks, gesturing toward their prisoner secured in the rear compartment. Amara studies the reptilian officer, whose scales have paled to an unhealthy gray in the cold. He comes with us. Intelligence will want to understand their psychology firsthand. The alien's compound eyes track her movements. You cannot win. It hisses through translator implants. Your resistance defies logic. Our simulations indicate your defense capability will collapse within 17 days. Amara smiles coldly. Your simulations don't understand humans. As extraction approaches, Chen secures the final data package. Transfer complete, including their psychological warfare protocols. Psychological warfare. Amara raises an eyebrow. They think they know how to break human morale. Chen chuckles. They've never encountered Earth entertainment media. Their understanding of human psychology is limited. The faint sound of stealth helicopters approaches as night fully envelops the mountains. As her team prepares for extraction, Amara takes one final look at the Draxian forces retreating below, their superior technology faltering against Earth's natural defenses and humanity's unpredictable tenacity. First blood to us, she whispers. And they still have no idea what they're really fighting. Commander Wei Zong steps through the holographic battle data, examining engagement patterns across multiple theaters. The command center's subdued lighting casts her face in a blue glow as she focuses on the Australian front. Rotate view, she orders, and the projection shifts to ground-level perspective. Footage from soldier helmet cameras shows small human squads engaging Draxian forces, then melting away only to reappear hours later from unexpected directions. 96 hours of continuous contact, notes strategic analyst Jackson. No single engagement lasting more than 15 minutes, no break in pressure longer than 40 minutes. Dr. Paddle enters with fresh biological analysis. The results are conclusive, he announces, projecting comparative physiological data. Extended combat operations create a cascading metabolic crisis in Draxian physiology. Zhang examines the neural stress indicators. Show me their combat effectiveness over time. A new graph materializes, tracking precision of movement, reaction times, and coordination across a 4-day period. The downward trend is unmistakable. Their entire evolutionary history shaped them as ambush predators, Paddle explains. Short bursts of intense activity followed by recovery periods. They've never faced prey that hunts back relentlessly. Tactical Officer Lin indicates a separate display showing human performance metrics. Our troops show fatigue too, but the rotation system keeps overall pressure constant. 3 teams, 8-hour cycles, continuous engagement. And their reaction? Zhang asks. Lin brings up intercepted Draxian communications, confusion turning to frustration. Their command structure doesn't know how to counter an enemy that refuses to engage in decisive battles. Zhang nods, satisfaction evident in her expression. They want climactic confrontations where superior firepower guarantees victory. Instead, we give them a war of attrition they're biologically unprepared to fight. Dr. Patel highlights neurological data from captured Draxians. There's another advantage we didn't anticipate. Their brains are more specialized than ours. Efficient but less adaptable. Human neuroplasticity allows our soldiers to learn and adjust tactics rapidly. While they struggle to deviate from established combat protocols, Zhang concludes. The command center door slides open as Admiral Chen enters. The pattern is repeating across all theaters, she announces. Draxian forward elements showing decreased combat effectiveness after 72 hours of harassment. Zhang zooms out to the global view. They still hold significant territory. But they're not advancing, Chen notes. And now we push them back, one exhausted unit at a time. Zhang accesses the tactical database. I'm authorizing deployment of persistence warfare protocols to all combat groups. Priority to mountainous and cold weather theaters where environmental factors compound their fatigue. On screen, footage plays of a Draxian officer interrogating a captured human soldier. Why do you continue fighting? The alien demands. Your defeat is mathematically certain. The soldier's weary face breaks into a smile. Because that's what humans do. We don't stop. As the command team disperses to implement the new strategy, Zhang studies the global battle map one final time. The Draxians came expecting a swift victory against primitive defenders. Instead, they've awakened an ancient predator that evolution perfected over millions of years. Homo sapiens, the ultimate persistence hunter. Captain Layla Cahill adjusts the experimental exoskeletal supports integrated with her combat armor. The medical bay's lights reflect off the reinforced plating covering the still healing wound in her chest. 3 weeks ago, Draxian plasma fire had torn through her thoracic cavity, damage their medical scanners confirmed would be fatal to one of their own kind. Neural interface synchronization at 94%, reports medical technician Santos, monitoring her vitals. How does it feel? Like someone's holding my organs in place, Layla replies with a grim smile. But I can move. Dr. Volkov approaches with final clearance documents. Your medical implants will continue tissue regeneration in the field. The pain suppressors are calibrated to maintain combat awareness while managing trauma response. Layla tests her range of motion, the exoskeleton whirring softly as it amplifies her movements. The Draxians won't expect to see me again. That's precisely the psychological impact we're counting on, says Research Director Emma Chen, entering with tactical updates. Your strike team deployment coordinates are set. You'll be inserting directly into Sector 17, where you were originally wounded. Confirming facial recognition systems are active in Draxian forward positions. Layla asks. Emma nods. Intelligence confirmed they maintain comprehensive databases of human combatants. They'll know exactly who you are. In the adjacent laboratory, Dr. Volkov guides visitors from EDC Command through rows of medical data displays. The comparative trauma response is remarkable, she explains, highlighting side-by-side anatomical models. Draxian physiology channels resources toward immediate surface regeneration, but lacks our distributed organ functionality. She pulls up footage of human soldiers continuing to fight despite injuries. Human bodies evolved redundant systems and extraordinary compensatory mechanisms. Blood loss that would immediately incapacitate a Draxian merely triggers our emergency adrenaline response. Admiral Chen studies the medical comparisons. And psychologically, even more significant, Dr. Volkov confirms. Their species evolved with clear biological triggers for retreat. When certain damage thresholds are reached, their neural pathways automatically shift to survival mode. They cannot comprehend how humans override these instincts. Later that evening, Layla addresses her strike team in the deployment bay. Veterans like herself, each bearing wounds that should have ended their service, stand in formation with enhanced combat systems integrated into their healing bodies. Operation Wounded Predator begins at dawn, she tells them, her voice steady despite the pain medication cycling through her system. Psychological warfare has determined our insertion points are precisely where each of us was previously wounded or reported killed in action. A soldier with a reconstructed jaw speaks up. The same Draxian units will see us return. Exactly, Layla confirms. Their combat doctrine has no protocol for enemies who refuse to stay dead. As the strike teams board their stealth transports, Admiral Chen observes from the command deck. Will they be combat effective? She asks Medical Director Harmon. By Draxian standards, they should all be dead, he replies. By human standards, they're angry and motivated. I almost feel sorry for the aliens. The first transport lifts off, carrying Captain Cahale's team toward Draxian territory. Inside, the wounded warriors check their weapons with steady hands. Their bodies may be broken, but their indomitable human spirit remains intact, a terrifying revelation awaiting the invaders who believe they understood the limits of biology. Professor Maria Alvarez studies the microscopic battle unfolding on her laboratory displays. Human immune cells engulf and neutralize the engineered Draxian pathogens at rates her team initially thought impossible. Behind her, recovery statistics from San Francisco's hospitals continue to climb against all projections. They designed their weapon with fundamental misconceptions about our biology, she explains to the assembled EDC Scientific Council. Their evolutionary history in a controlled biosphere left them without reference points for Earth's microbial complexity. Dr. Nakamura, chief immunologist, highlights genomic comparisons between recovered patient samples. Their pathogen was engineered to adapt against a predictable immune response, but human immune systems show too much individual variation for their model to function. Diversity as defense, Maria notes. Our messy evolutionary history saves us again. She shifts the display to Draxian tissue samples under microscopic examination. The alien cells react violently to introduced human microbiota, their structures destabilizing rapidly. Their sterile evolutionary environment is their greatest vulnerability. Maria continues. Their homeworld has approximately 8% of Earth's microbial diversity. Their bodies never developed our complex microbiome defenses. Admiral Chen, observing silently until now, approaches the biological display. Can we weaponize this difference? Maria nods. We already have. These delivery systems, she indicates sealed canisters on an adjacent workbench, contain modified probiotic cultures. Completely harmless to humans, we live with these bacteria daily, but devastating to Draxian neural function. Side effects? Chen asks. Temporary disorientation progressing to severe balance disruption and hallucinatory episodes. Dr. Nakamura explains. No permanent damage, but total combat incapacitation for approximately 72 hours. In the secure testing chamber visible through reinforced glass, captured Draxian subjects demonstrate the effects. Stumbling, disoriented movements, and apparent visual disturbances as they react to stimuli invisible to human observers. Production status. Chen inquires. Full-scale manufacturing began yesterday, Maria reports. First deployment-ready units shipped to Australian front tonight. Aerosol drone delivery systems have been modified for optimal dispersal patterns. Later, in her private laboratory, Maria reviews final safety protocols with her deployment team. Remember, these cultures pose zero risk to human personnel. Standard filtration masks are sufficient protection during initial dispersal phase. A young technician examines the delivery canisters with visible awe. They came to conquer us with advanced technology, and we're defeating them with yogurt bacteria. Maria allows herself a small smile. Earth has been conducting biological warfare for billions of years. Our bodies carry the accumulated survivors of countless microbial conflicts. The Draxians never stood a chance against that evolutionary history. As deployment orders finalize, satellite imagery shows Draxian forces consolidating positions along coastal regions. Their initial biological attack, intended to shatter human resistance, instead revealed a crucial weakness in their own defenses. Now, the microscopic defenders that humans have co-evolved with for millennia prepare to enter the war, billions of tiny allies that no Draxian weapon can counter. We tried approaching this conventionally, Maria tells Admiral Chen as the first shipments depart. But our greatest weapons were inside us all along. Every human carries an invisible army, the Draxians never considered. Major Thomas Okoro's Special Operations Center hums with activity beneath the Rocky Mountains. Screens display real-time Draxian communication channels overlaid with intrusion indicators. Linguists, behavioral psychologists, and information warfare specialists work in concert, mapping the alien command structure's vulnerabilities. Their communication protocols are elegant but rigid, explains Dr. Lakshmi Patel. Xenolinguistics expert. Every message contains authentication markers specific to the sender's place in their hierarchy. We've cataloged 87 distinct authority levels. Thomas studies the network visualization, and we can now replicate all of them. Perfectly, confirms Specialist Jackson, manning the synthetic transmission station. Their encryption is mathematically sophisticated but behaviorally predictable. The adjacent chamber houses an unlikely assortment of experts: game theorists from major universities, reformed financial criminals, master strategists from various Earth cultures, and psychological operations veterans. They pore over Draxian psychological profiles extracted from captured databases. Their societal cohesion depends on absolute certainty of role and place, notes Dr. Eliza Cohen, evolutionary sociologist. They evolved from hive-adjacent species where deviation from predetermined function was catastrophic to group survival, while humans evolved as tribal cooperators who value creative problem-solving. Thomas adds, what they see as our weakness is actually our strength. The Operations Center's main display activates as Admiral Chen connects remotely. Status report on Mindbreaker protocols. Thomas gestures to a global map showing Draxian positions. Phase 1 complete. Contradictory orders have been inserted into their command channels across 13 sectors. Their verification systems are compromised but appear functional to their diagnostics. Effects: spreading confusion and hesitation. Thomas replies, units are receiving contradictory directives from what appear to be valid command sources. Their rigid hierarchy has no protocols for resolving these conflicts. Ken studies the deployment pattern. Timeframe for Phase 2. Already initiated, Thomas confirms. The captured officers we allowed to escape have returned to their units carrying subtly altered intelligence. They're currently reporting impossible human capabilities that contradict Draxian tactical doctrine. In a secure observation room, psychologists monitor the interrogation of a high-ranking Draxian officer. The alien's body language displays increasing distress as the human interviewer presents fabricated but convincing evidence of betrayal within its command structure. They have no cultural framework for deception as we understand it, observes Dr. Cohen. Their society evolved with transparent hierarchical communication. The concept of deliberate misinformation from within their own ranks is psychologically devastating. Later, Thomas briefs his specialized infiltration teams, each preparing to penetrate different segments of Draxian territory with carefully crafted misinformation packages. Remember, we're not just attacking their positions, he tells them. We're attacking their perception of reality. They evolve to trust their communication systems absolutely. When those systems become unreliable, their entire societal structure begins to unravel. Satellite imagery reveals the first visible effects of Operation Mindbreaker. Draxian units moving in contradictory patterns, some abandoning strategic positions without apparent cause, others firing on friendly forces they've misidentified as infiltrators. They came expecting to defeat our technology, Thomas tells his teams as they deploy. Instead, they're facing something their evolution never prepared them for: the human capacity for creative deception. The celebration continues into the night as Earth's defenders finally allow themselves to acknowledge victory. In a quiet corner of the diplomatic reception, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah finds himself surrounded by representatives from previously unknown alien civilizations, their morphologies as diverse as their technological aesthetics. You must understand, he explains to the gathered xenodiplomats. Humanity didn't develop superior weapons or tactics. We simply refuse to recognize defeat as a possibility. A crystalline entity pulses with curious light patterns. The Draxian Empire conquered 12 systems with minimal resistance. What made Earth different? Kwame activates a holographic display showing Earth's turbulent geological history. This is our homeworld over the past 4 billion years. Continental shifts, ice ages, magnetic reversals, asteroid impacts. Our planet never stopped trying to kill us. The aliens observe in fascination as the display shifts to human evolutionary history. Early hominids facing predators, surviving ice ages, adapting to radically changing environments. While most sentient species evolved in stable ecosystems, Quaim continues, humans emerged from chaos. Our bodies remember every predator, every famine, every natural disaster that nearly wiped us out. A tall insectoid diplomat clicks its mandibles thoughtfully. Yet the Draxians possessed biological advantages in nearly every category. Specialized advantages, corrects Admiral Chen, joining the conversation. We were never the strongest or fastest species on our own world. We survived because we adapted continuously. The hologram shifts to show humans inhabiting every environment on Earth, from Arctic tundra to scorching deserts, mountain peaks to ocean depths. The Draxians expected us to behave according to their understanding of rational species, Chen explains. They couldn't comprehend that our apparent weakness, our messy, chaotic approach to problem-solving, was actually our greatest strength. In another corner of the reception, Captain Layla Cahill, her wounds still healing beneath her formal uniform, speaks with representatives from a methane-breathing species. Your willingness to endure physical damage defies conventional biological imperatives, their translator conveys. Layla smiles slightly. Humans have always pushed beyond what should be possible. Our history books are filled with individuals who accomplished the impossible simply because they refused to stop trying. As the diplomatic reception continues, intelligence reports from across the galaxy speak of spreading ripples of change. Species previously intimidated by Draxian might now reconsider their positions. Trade alliances form between worlds previously isolated by fear. Dr. Nkrumah rejoins Admiral Chen as they watch the gathering of diverse species. They came expecting to find primitive defenders, he observes. Instead, they discovered something far more valuable. What's that? Chen asks. Hope, Nkrumah replies. If humans could defeat the undefeatable empire, perhaps the galaxy isn't as predetermined as many believed. Outside the diplomatic complex, ordinary citizens celebrate in streets still bearing the scars of battle. They dance beneath stars that no longer represent distant threats but future possibilities. Humanity has proven itself on the galactic stage, not through technological dominance, but through something far more fundamental. The evolutionary legacy of a species that simply refuses to accept extinction as an option. They thought they were the apex predators of the cosmos. Admiral Chen remarks, watching the celebrations. They never realized that Earth itself is the ultimate forge for warriors, creating beings who thrive on the impossible.